Hey guys, this is Tanvi from BloggersIdeas, and today I will be reviewing Economics and Society by Paul Krugman. Now this course, which is called Economics and Society, it explains briefly the importance of issues faced by economics. Economics is a social science concerned with the production, distribution and the consumption of goods and services. Economics can be generally broken down into macroeconomics, which concentrates on the behavior of the aggregate economy, and the microeconomics, which focuses on individual consumers and the businesses. It explains the market laws and debates through the difference between real, fake, passion, and authority. It justifies educating each individual to their ability in order to survive in this world. Guidance will help you and take you through the world of economics. It clarifies one's approach towards economics and gives an individual sense of economical world. It educates you about what can do to become an enlightened citizen and survive this chaos. It explains you about the understanding and approaching this world with a view of an economically aware citizen. It helps an individual to improve his decisiveness and gives clarification about a lot of rights and wrongs and the do's and the don'ts. Now, economics and society are interdependent, right? Economics is like science. It can be used to improve living standards, hence it partly depends on the society and its priority. Paul Krugman explains various theories using history-based events and civic life experiences. He speaks with his mind with regular examples and generic observations. This course inserts a sense of curiosity about the application of economics in your day-to-day life and makes you aware about how many of these things work. Consumption and management discovers and elaborates three rules: natural economic law, market regulation law, and the law of macroeconomic control. Now, natural economic law refers to the natural rule, the mother rule, that is, three important consumption drive the cyclic development of any economy. Moving on of this course, the instructor part. The instructor of this course is Paul Krugman, none other than the author of the New York's bestseller book, Arguing with Zombies. Krugman was born to a Jewish family in Albany, New York. He brilliantly crafts an amazing inclusive comprehension and is an outspoken commentator who lays out his vision for a fairer society. He is one of the most respected economists of America and is a distinguished professor of economics at the Graduate Center of the city. He regularly contributes for New York Times by writing columns for them. Krugman was awarded the Nobel Memorial Prize in Economic Science for his contributions to the new trade theory and new economic geography. He is a retired professor from Princeton University and holds the title of a professor emeritus there. He also holds the title of Centennial Professor at the London School of Economics. Professor Krugman was the president of the Eastern Economic Association in 2010 and is one of the most influential economists in the world. He is known in academia for his work on international economics. He has written a wide range of economic issues, including income distribution, taxation, macroeconomics, and international economics. His popular commentary has attracted widespread attention and comments, both positive and sometimes negative. Awards and honors: Nobel Prize 2008, John Bates Clark Medal 1991. Krugman was awarded a BA from Yale University in 1974 and a PhD from MIT in 1977. He's been one of the best professors ever. He served as a member of MIT's economics faculty from 1979 to 2000, leaving for a year between 82 and 83 to work as a chief staffer for international economics on US Presidential Ronald Reagan's Council of Economics Advisors, and again for a hiatus in 94 to 96 to teach at Stanford University. He's worked as a research associate at the National Bureau of Economic Research. In 2000, he became a professor of economics and international affairs at the Woodrow Wilson School of Public. Through the integration of economics of scale into general equilibrium models, Krugman furthered understanding of both the determinants of trade and the location of production in an increasingly globalized post-World War II economy. His research findings explain how the consumer's desires for variety and choice enabled countries to achieve the economies of scale required for profitable trade in similar products. This led to later research on the new economy geography, which explained the location of jobs and businesses and the reason there was acceleration in the pace of urbanization and population decline in rural areas. Moving on to the next chapter. In the course Economics and Society, Paul Krugman takes you through a journey of understanding and relating. He explains how what you get is what you add to the economy. He makes you think critically and teaches you the application of his teachings in your day-to-day life. Basically, this course enables your curiosity and encourages it. He teaches you principles and shape political and social mindsets and influence global standards of living. He entertains you with numerous generic and simple examples. Earning a living and how to spend that are the subject of matter here. The course also includes the knowledge about basic working system of Federal Reserves. It tells you how unexpected financial crises become, and it becomes worse due to lack of awareness. It helps you to stay aware and prepare for the uncertain financial situation and the unpredictable economic future. It answers a lot of financial and system-based questions. Ethics and principles are a big part of economic cycle of the world. He has explained concepts like tax cuts, interest cuts, ISLM, globalization and its effects, world economy, etc., etc. He teaches us to brace ourselves for various kinds of economic crises. He explains policy making and illustrates how economics work. He gives an idea about the financial plan one must prefer and work accordingly. Moving on to the next section of this. Economics and Society provides you with exclusive content by Paul Krugman, and it includes detailed explanation of various concepts related to the subject of the course. It extensively includes 22 pre-recorded videos which are based on the lessons and they can be watched at any time. The pre-recorded videos are sectioned as follows. Theories based on history, practical application based on current world situation, and conclusion, problem solving, suggestions and advice. The course of 22 videos, inclusive of many concepts and examples, took around 3.5 hours, that is 215 minutes to get completed. It completely occupies your mind and attention and increases your curiosity to another level. The course is a detailed viewpoint and has principles and theories based on world-renowned observations and standards. Now, Paul has parted the explanation into two principles. Number one is advantages of incentives, and number two is every sale is also a purchase. Moving on to the next thing. Now, Paul has explained how buying as much as you sell is a part of economic process, and if there's an opportunity, people are going to take its advantage. He has used an example of relationship of farmers and landlords for the rent of the land, right? He has used various theories of economics like Adam Smith, John Maynard, etc. to explain his point. Income earning and spending rightly has been focused throughout the course in order to put it into an individual's application. Next up, Paul has subjected to market pattern and disruptive carelessness which lead to worsen the economical depression. He has explained how the origin of recession led to formation of paper currency. He has briefly stated the concept of bank run and shadow banking and has explained its causes and effects. Graphical representation and practical solving of numerical is also a part of Paul's detailed explanation on economic theory of crises. He uses various examples, like he used an example of Japan to conclude the point of printing more money and an example of Great Depression of the US. Relatively flat distribution of income and growth, growing gap between income of individual is dangerous to economy. Inequality due to race, gender is also a part of economics and some of the very distinct topics that he has talked about. Now moving on to the next thing. He explains us how in today's world inherited wealth is playing a major role which is hazardous to economy as a whole. Racism, unequal society, etc. affect the income levels and stock markets US economy. It has faced a lot of inequalities which lead differences in transactions and equilibrium. Social and cultural causes of inequality lead to a lot of problems. He explains how only measuring the impact of technology and the trade on the economy is totally unfair, and not enough measuring cultural and political impacts should also be considered. Dysfunctional politics has its adverse effect. Now, Krugman helps the students to see the world in a different way by explaining them deeply about the economics policies and through historical events. He has helped widen our perspective. He has outlined the importance of buying how much you sell and selling how much you buy. He has descriptively mentioned about monetary, fiscal policies and healthcare. Paul explores the financial questions and provides solutions to them. He explains how economics influences our lives very, very, very deeply. Federal operating systems, trade exchange, stock policies, and laws are all duly explained by Paul in order to give you an inclusive and insightful approach to all the concepts. Analytical mindset and critical approach can make you master this masterclass. From topics like human tendencies and national policies and laws that are taken into consideration. Measuring political polarization by political scientists has helped to analyze. He concludes people's welfare is one of the most important investments to further economic secularization. It is important to make sure that everybody is provided with the essentials and has basics at least. Debt deflation. Consumer loans and mortgages. The theory was actually developed by Irving Fisher following the Wall Street crash of 1929 and ensuing Great Depression. Now, what is unemployment, right? Now, unemployment, according to the OECD, is persons above a specified age not being paid in employment or self employed but currently available for work during this reference period. Unemployment is measured by the unemployment rate, which is the number of people who are unemployed as a percentage of the labor force. Unemployment is one of the biggest problems faced by the economy. The target of New Zealand is to limit the rate of unemployment up to 2%, but it is really hard to cut the interest rates and provide full employment simultaneously. He explains his analytical approach is exploring the table of taxes too. Paul talks about how people have a negative approach to paying taxes and then complain about the failing economy. He justifies revenue-based system and increased rate of GDP in order to grow the economy. He explores the idea behind supply-side taxation. He mentions about the US corporate taxation policy and its system to point out and explain the loopholes it includes. He has objected policies without making hearings and enough thought process, such as policies are rushed and have caused much damage. Rational approach towards taxes is important for it to be considered as secondary. Technological progress refers to the discovery of new and improved methods of producing goods. Changing in technology lead to an increase in productivity of labor, capital and other factors of production. It refers to the process through which inputs are transformed into outputs. A technological change involves the invention of technologies and their release as open source via research and development. The continual improvement of the technologies and the diffusion of the technologies throughout the industry or society. Moving on to the next section of this course. Paul explains how overproductivity due to technology in some sectors has led to shifting of labor to underproductive areas. Automation of or labor serving technology is the technology by which a process or procedure is performed with minimal human assistance. Advantages commonly attributed to automation include higher production rates and increased productivity, more efficient use of materials, better product quality, improved safety and shorter work weekends of labor and reduced factory lead time. Advantages commonly attributed to automation include higher production rates and increased productivity, more efficient use of materials, better product quality, improved safety, shorter work weeks for labor. Higher output and increased productivity have been two of the biggest reasons in justifying the use of automation. Disadvantages of automated equipment include the high capital expenditure required to invest in automation. An automated system can cost millions of dollars to design, fabricate, and install. A higher level of maintenance is needed than with a manually operated machine, and a generally lower degree of flexibility. Theory of automation and its effects have two approaches, positive and of course negative. Paul explores most people think of the budget deficit as bad. It's worth asking though, why exactly that's so? There are two basic reasons, neither of which applies when a country like United States is in a liquidity trap. The first reason is that in the normal times when the government borrows money, the leaves less money available for households and businesses who need to borrow the money. If the government borrows too much, it will obviously crowd out that private spending in a liquidity trap. However, money piling up with no one borrowing. He explains how rising inequality tends to have disproportionately strong impact on people who are not white. It also is important to focus on policies that prevents wages from getting so unequal in the first place. Healthcare is the maintenance or improvement of health via the prevention, diagnosis, treatment, recovery, or cure of disease, illness, injury, and other physical and mental impairments in people. Healthcare is delivered by health professionals in allied health fields. It is the fastest growing industry. Access to healthcare may vary across communities, countries, and individuals influenced by social and economic conditions as well as health policies. Prospects for future growth and development in these fields are required because rapid healthcare inflation, increasing rates of chronic conditions, aging population, and increasing technology diffusions will require greater economic efficiency into healthcare systems. Now, moving on, health economics is a branch of economics that is examining as well as evaluating issues related to efficiency, effectiveness, and value of resources in health and healthcare. The development and adoption of these technologies are costly, which has led to increased healthcare costs. After performing these calculations, and economists find that the trade is a significant contributor to the rise in inequality, but it is not the primary contributor. Paul has extensively talked about the disruptive miracle in this masterclass, explaining China's rapid economic growth and details how the influx of their exported goods impact economics and rules the trade worldwide. Nobel Prize-winning economist Paul Krugman teaches you the economic theories that drive history, policy, and help explain the world around you. He also talks about how China affects US economy and global economy. He mentions when he was in mid school how economics as a subject was very depressing. He tells that the whole lot of insufficiency was seen in government. For a Nobel Prize winner, Paul Krugman, economics is not a set of answers, it is a way of understanding the world. In his economics masterclass, Paul teaches you the principles that shape political and social issues, including access to healthcare, the tax debate, globalization, and political polarization. Heighten your ability to read between the lines and decipher the underlying economics at play. So it's not about the surplus and trade deficits, it's more about free flowing money supply. Economies require constant flow of money to keep the wheels turning. Once a blockage appears and restricts the free movement of that money supply, it's like taking the air away from breathing economy. Now, the theoretical economic geography focuses on building theories about spatial arrangement and distribution of economic activities. Regional economy geography examines the economic conditions of particular regions or countries of the world. It deals with economic regionalization as well as local economic development. Economic geography is important in developed nations such as the US because it allows researchers to understand the structure of area's economy and its economic relationship with the other areas around the world. Because economics is such a large topic of studies and economic geography is also very large. Geographical economics seeks to build a spatial dimensions into broad theories of economic development and, of course, change, while economic geography represents something different. The traditional geographer's approach, which is focused on description of the spatial distribution of economic activity. Coming decades of economy will include a lot of contribution by economic geography. Now, it is a subject which employs a geographical approach to provide insights and an understanding of the economy. When they approach this course, many students think that economic geography is about describing economies of individual countries or the location of their industries. A common misunderstanding is that in the globalizing world, geography doesn't matter anymore since firms can locate anywhere around the globe. However, as economic activities are increasingly globalized, interconnections between various places increase, competition between them intensifies, and inequalities are on the rise. So, geography becomes more important than ever. What students take away from this course is an understanding of economic geography as a dynamic, diverse, and contested body of knowledge that aims to provide critical insights into the workings of contemporary societies and, of course, economy. This course will introduce you to the basic approaches, concepts, and theories that economic geographers use. It will help you, however, to understand how these concepts and theories may be applied in the context of globalizing world and economy. And it will make you aware of the ways in which economic geography approaches can inform policy making. Aims and objectives. The specific objectives of the course are to, of course, highlight the importance of economic geography in analyzing contemporary societies and economies. Second is obviously to provide a comprehensive introduction to a basic concept and key theoretical approaches in any economic geography. Third is introduce economic geography as a dynamic, diverse, and contested body of knowledge. Fourth is obviously to enable you to apply this knowledge to key social and economic issues in the context of economic globalization. Discuss policy options for overcoming inequality and uneven development. The commercial success of early internet firms brought ventures capitalists and other investors to the area. This created an ever bigger technology cluster which soon outgrew Palo Alto and came to cover much of the San Francisco Bay Area. Economics deal with subjects that are often the source of intense academic and political debate. Reading economics help you to develop a strong grounding in the conceptual underpinnings of economies and the mathematical approach to the subject and its methodology. You will learn to use key mathematical and statistical techniques through core modules in macroeconomics, microeconomics, and econometrics. You will also have an opportunity to explore other areas of economics through a wide range of optional modules. These span of number of topics including business, policy, economic, history, and even the economics of climate change. Modules from other subjects such as history and politics are also available and are a good way to broaden your knowledge and pursue other interests. Paul claims that economics is complex and predictions are hard, especially about the future. This means from time to time, even the best economic analysts will be wrong. The very best, however, will admit that they were wrong. Try to understand why they were wrong and incorporate that understanding. Even very intelligent readers are often taken in by an argument that appeals to their own biases or makes a complex problem seem very easy to understand. For example, lots of things are going on in the economy at once, right? Paul shows and he draws an inclination towards thinking like an economist. Thinking like an economist might seem like a skill limited to solving problems of the marketplace, but this type of thinking can be applied in many areas outside the field of economics. Thinking like an economist can help avoid irrational decision making. It can aid professionals in improving the decisions that affect their lives and can help you, me, better understand the world around all of us. Economic theory is fundamentally about the idea of scarcity, the idea that everyone, individuals, corporations, and the governments can only have limited resources and must decide how and where those resources will be allocated. He states these results help ease the concern held by Paul and many other economists. Now, the next thing is slower employment growth. Many economic findings have political implications. It can be tempting to allow your own personal values or ideology to influence your economic conclusions. Good economics, however, should challenge your conclusions. Linear thinking, to think like an economist, can add a great value in your life, can help you make difficult decisions easier. One way to learn economic thinking is to enroll in a masterclass program that teaches you economic thinking and to apply it in a regular and a day-to-day life. It is not a science, actually, it is a rather way of thinking. It is not false or true. Careful argument and genuine engagement with the opposing side can be tedious both as a writer and a reader. This is why the most successful economists, writers use evocative language even while being mindful not to compromise the integrity of their argument. Paul challenges preconceived notions about the authority figures' ability to understand the Great Recession. To get around this limitation, economists look for natural experiments. Now, this was the most intense part of the course. For whom is this course? If you ask me, this course will provide you with real world applications and feeds into the teachings of both undergraduates and postgraduates courses. It addresses important and topical socio-political issues, from an economic perspective, creating research outputs that have been used by federal departments. If you are approaching economics as your major, this course will be very engaging and highly informative. It helps your historic, geographic, and practical approach towards economics and enhances your basics. You're just likely curious how to leverage your economic thinking to shape your everyday decisions, which is perfect. Since the study of economics is fundamentally about choices, following are the things that Paul has covered in his masterclass. Variety of programs. Economics are part of most aspects of everyday life, a focus on real life. Economics is focused on learning from case studies. Excellent graduates prospects. Most students easily find a job after graduation as economists, and it is highly needed in businesses. This course helps you stay aware and it makes you a good citizen and also knowledgeable individual. The teachings of this course can be applied to businesses in general and in regular life as well. Now, this was about economics, workbook and PDFs. The course of economics and society provides you with a workbook by Paul Krugman, in which he has obviously explained every concept of his masterclass briefly and of course in detail. In this workbook, he has partly advised the aspiring activists. He has encouraged aware citizenship and transparency of economy with the people. He highlights to read, to write, to stay aware in order to be prepared for crises and uncertainties. Also, if possible, prevent the crises altogether. Casual conversation at the bar or cafe will tend towards the town's main industry. It becomes easy to learn the important elements of doing business simply by being in the right place, among the right people. Now, moving on to the next section. The next section is all about pros of taking this masterclass. You will get to learn so much about economy of the US and the economics in general. This course gives a detailed presentation of how things work for people working in the real world. Historical events and practical approaches are the two main strategies of this course. Application of the knowledge about economics in day-to-day life is rationally presented. Applicable solutions and cautions are taught in this course. Paul Krugman, a well-known American economist, is the instructor and has exclusively shared his own approaches and experiences with everybody. Masterclass enables you to get knowledge anywhere, anytime. Masterclass has an app too. You can also try making notes and understand the class. Answers of frequently asked questions are available right here. Reasonable graphics and proper data is used to show ethical presentation in order to spread information. A workbook about the course is exclusively available for all the students to refer. Frequently asked question answers are answered in particular column. So I highly recommend this course. A short conclusion, if you were to ask me, was another reason to study economics is that it will help you to make decisions in your personal and professional life. A primary purpose of economics education is to train the economist students to think like an economist. The key question is, how does an economist think? He teaches you to live your life with an economic perspective and apply it everywhere, be it in a professional thinking or in a daily personal life. Paul chronicled his thoughts about the Great Recession and the other major economic events in this particular masterclass. He educates you to become more of an informed citizen, an activist, and even a policy maker yourself. Remember to stay aware and read, listen, and be skeptical of everything that you hear. Moving on, I think everybody should take this course. I highly recommend you to just go for it. If you're interested to take up this course, the link to the course is in the description box below. Also, I highly recommend it. If you like with this video, please like, share and subscribe, and don't forget to press the bell icon before leaving. Thank you guys so much. Love you all.